So this is kinesio tape, or KT, or kinesiology tape, and it's really a newly popularized modality, and when you use kinesio taping method. So this is a cotton fiber that stretches only along its longitudinal axis on the body, so towards those muscle fibers on the skin. So it's a valuable resource, and you're going to use it in conjunction with your regular therapy to treatment in pediatric population. But we want to make sure we're using proper application techniques to obtain really good optimal results.
Okay. So kinesiology tape, or KT, is a way to help stabilize joints. Lauren here has a brachial plexus injury where her left shoulder is weak and it won't stay up in her socket as well. And in her daily occupation of play, she often misses out because she can't play with other kids. Lauren is 7, and we are going to apply KT to her to help her shoulder get that strength and stability that it needs in order to play for her. So first start out, we did a patch test. You want to make sure your patient the skin does not have any adverse effects to the KT. And so we did a patch test earlier, she's fine. A few things to keep in mind with kinesiology tape is you have an anchor at the top and bottom, and then the rest is the body of it. You never want to stretch the anchors. You want all the stretch on the body. To start, you just tear a simple line about 1.5 inches from the base of it, and there's your anchor right there. And then you want to follow the muscle fibers. So I'm going to try and follow Lauren's deltoid, her anterior, middle, and posterior deltoid. So I'm going to start out distal. And I will be applying the KT from distal to proximal. So I line it up. That's where I want it, and it will stretch, so I'm going to come down a little bit. I'm going to apply it. And then I'm going to bring the back paper off. And then I'm going to hold my finger there to allow the body to stretch. You want about 50% stretch at this point. You don't want 100% stretch, and you don't want too light, or it won't really give the effects that you want it to have. So I stretch it, and then as I'm stretching, I adhere to it. I rub it down. You okay if I move your shirt a little, Lauren?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I stop the stretch here, apply no stretch on the tape, and then apply the tape. And then a good thing to do is to rub it, make sure it's there, and then you can also hold it. The heat will help adhere the tape a little bit. Now we're going to do that to the middle and the posterior deltoid as well, just to really help that joint stability. Okay, let's get this middle deltoid. Stop the stretch. These particular strips come pre-lengthened. Some you have to cut. And when you cut, make sure you round the corners. The rounding the corners will help with surface tension. It'll also help not create pressure points. And so be careful of that. These ones have the round corners. And then sometimes you might need to cut these pre-lengthened segments already. It might be too long, but here we are doing just okay. I'm gonna come a little more posterior now. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do a little quick ball activity with Lauren. So we're just going to sit and we're just going to toss the ball back and forth. Before she wasn't able to do it, can you flip this up, Lauren? And we'll just toss it back and forth. But now that her left shoulder is supported, that proximal joint, she should be able to catch and toss the ball back to me. We're going to start slow and close next to each other. Ready? Catch, and then back to me. And then back.
Okay, start like this?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. And then you can see her proximal joint, as it is stable, she's able to get more of a motion and really engage in this activity of play. Hey guys, so we're here with Lauren, and we're going to use kinesio tape to help her writing skills. Right now, Lauren, she has cerebral palsy, and she has spastic flexor in her wrist and ulnar deviation in her wrist. It really makes it tough for writing and those writing skills that we need in school or typing, and we much prefer more of a neutral wrist when we are writing or doing other things. So we're going to start out by asking Lauren, would you be able to spell your name with your wrist? Now, Lauren is in the 2nd grade. She is learning, how to read and write and communicate with the pen, and it's really difficult with that wrist. Okay, so she wrote her name, and she did a good job, but we're going to improve it by applying kinesio tape. So we want to rip off 1.5 inches of the back paper. Okay, this is going to be our anchor. And then we want to start at the distal end of her metacarpals. Tear off the paper ever so slightly. And now before we go, we want to put her in a little extension. Okay, and I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to start the stretch on the tape about 50%, and I'm going to stop the stretch, adhere all this, and then apply the bottom anchor. And then smooth it down. Smoothing it down will help it adhere, and you can see her wrist is in much more of a neutral position as the tape is supporting it. Now we're going to get her in neutral from her ulnar deviation as well. So we're going to apply a second one. Make our rip. Put it at the distal end of the metacarpals. I'm going to put her in a little radial deviation. Start tearing off the tape. Start the stretch, help it apply and adhere, and then smooth it all down. Heat does help it adhere, so if you want to, you can hold it. If your client feels comfortable, Lauren's already volunteered to, let me smooth this down on her arm, and then when you are ready to take it off, what you want to do is use warm water and soap, and that really helps take it off. Don't just rip it off like a Band-Aid. It will hurt a lot worse. Now, the point of this is for Lauren to be able to use her body better to write. Lauren, would you be able to spell your name now for us?
Like this.
Perfect. Perfect. Lauren did a much better job. Her letter formation was more constant. The spacing was more constant. The line on the bottom line was perfect. She did a fantastic job with the kinesio tape on her wrist. Do you have any questions, Lauren?
How long do I keep this on for, this tape?
So her question is, how long does she keep the tape on? The purpose of this tape is to allow her to use her wrist in neutral and to keep it in neutral and allow her to functionally write. And so wear it as long as you need it to write. Now, kinesio tape, it's not super cheap, but it's also not super expensive. You can just get it at some sporting goods places, and it's a good place for her to know how to use it and to be able to write. So you can take it off when you get home, you can take it off when you're done with school, or you can reapply it when you want to play or do whatever you need just for a neutral wrist.